Here's a segment from this month's edition of St. Charles Parish Today, a new monthly local talk show.
The summer season can be a relaxing time of the year for local families. Many children, free from the rigors of schoolwork, have time to explore, play, and learn about new hobbies. But ask any doctor, nurse, or emergency medical technician and they'll tell you, summertime can be a dangerous time as well. From the dangers of heat stroke to sunburns and even poolside accidents, the season presents unique opportunities for illness and injury. With me to discuss ways to keep you and children out of the emergency room this summer is Ken Russo, Director of Emergency Medical Services for St. Charles Parish Hospital. Thank you for being on the show today, Ken.
Good morning, Renee. Thanks for inviting me.
Sure. So what are some of the most common reasons that EMS gets called out over the summer months?
Well, heat-related emergencies is one of the big ones for us. A lot of people start moving around and just don't realize how much this heat has crept up on them. We need to think about things like doing activities early in the morning or late in the afternoon. But some people, I'll still see them cutting grass in the middle of the day. And sometimes they just take on a little bit too much. Mm-hmm. So some of the things we see, like on a Friday night football game, you'll see some of these football players starting to get heat cramps. That's the first warning sign. You feel stiffness in your legs primarily, sometimes in your arms. But that's not necessarily so. Sometimes you go right into heat exhaustion. Some of the signs you see with heat exhaustion is cool, clammy skin. And then people sometimes will take a little break, but go right back out to what they were doing. And they don't realize they should stop at that point. I guess the most severe form of a heat-related emergency is heat stroke. That's when the body stops producing sweat and the skin overheats. It gets really, really hot. So we'll see somebody with this beet red skin. This is a true life-threatening emergency. By the time you've gotten to heat stroke, you can die from that. We see cardiac arrest sometimes. So, we need to stop and think. Let's do moderation. And if you see someone overdoing it, trimming those bushes, cutting grass, you need to ask them, say, look, let's call it quits for today. So hopefully we don't have those heat-related emergencies this summer.
Right. And you see other conditions as well. Maybe what are some of the first aid things people can do as far as sunburns?
Well, number one, you need to put good sunscreen on. For many years we had some low sunscreens, 4s, 10s, 20s. Nowadays you can get 60s and 75s. Let's not get that suntan all in one setting. So let's use that 60, let's use that 75 and take some precautions and not get too much sun. We have the whole summer to enjoy and get that good suntan.
Right, exactly. Another very important topic during summer is, of course, kids that are out swimming, maybe at community pools or at their own houses. Can you talk a little bit about the dangers of swimming pools and what's some of the things people can do to prevent some of the accidents that may happen around them?
Unfortunately, we always see one or two terrible tragedies during the summer with a swimming pool. If you have a swimming pool in your backyard, children are just drawn to it. Even though a child may know how to swim, they should not be swimming unattended. Anybody goes in the pool for any reason, someone should be watching them. Mm-hmm. And even though you may preach, don't go by the pool, don't go by the pool, children are just drawn to that swimming pool. So use every precaution to make sure that pool is a fun experience for everybody.
Very good. So recently the voters of St. Charles Parish passed a tax proposition which will allow the hospital to purchase more ambulances.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit more about that and what's in store for EMS, St. Charles Parish Hospital?
Well, I want to thank everybody for that. We have some exciting things in the future that the hospital is going to use those monies for. But specifically for EMS, we already have some new units on the drawing plan. We've met with a couple of manufacturers over the last week or two, and those will be forthcoming very shortly. In St. Charles Parish, we're very fortunate. The hospital has allowed us to have the highest level of care in units for, I've been here 19 years. Every unit in St. Charles Parish is manned by a paramedic, which is the highest level of EMT. And there's 3 different levels, just like in nursing, LPNs to RNs. So every one of our units here in St. Charles Parish has had paramedics on it for years. Mm-hmm. But we are looking at some new equipment to put on those units to assist that paramedic. things like laptop computers that will be tied into the 911 center, some new cardiology equipment. So it's an exciting time for us, and we look forward to implementing those new equipment on the trucks.
Okay, very good. Anything you'd like to add before we close out the interview?
Oh, absolutely. You know, some of the other things we see during the summertime is just accidents in general, from tree trimming to the spillway to kids on ATVs. You know, it's a fun thing to ride an ATV, but just like swimming pools, we always see some terrible tragedy during the summer. There are age requirements to ride an ATV. We've kind of over the years just looked at what's just a fun thing to ride on. They are very, very dangerous. So the spillway is going to be a very busy area for us this summer. Please tell your children to be very, very careful. And there are some things that they should not be doing. You know, we always look in hindsight and say, I wish I'd have done this, I wish I'd have done that. And please exercise that. And I speak as a parent to that. Hopefully, as we meet during the summer, it's not by accident.
Right. All right. Well, thank you very much for being on the show today. Very good information for anybody who's outdoors over the summer.
And Renee, I want to say one last thing. We got hurricane season coming up.
Right.
Everyone should get a game plan. That's the state's plan. And be thinking about where you're going to go, what you're going to do. You know, I guess we're getting lulled this year into believing that we're going to have a low hurricane season. We're not supposed to get as many named storms, but it only takes one storm. And history shows that in years with low storms, there have been 1 or 2 storms of great intensity. So please, everyone, think about where they're going to go, because there is no shelters south of I-10, and even the special needs shelters. You have to have very high level of medical need. So you may find yourself with someone needing that medical care, but the state not supporting you on it. They have done a really good job, though. But if we all make a game plan ahead of time, I'm sure we're going to have a very good summer.
You're right, and hurricanes are one of those things where it's not a health risk, but it certainly could be if you don't evacuate. Absolutely.
And you may say you have a generator at the house, but things like running water, sewerage, those kind of things. All it takes is one tree in your neighborhood to pull up all the sewer lines and water lines, and you may be without water for days. So I think we should all think about, where can we go? Call that relative and say, hey, I may come see you this summer. You don't necessarily have to say I'm coming because of a hurricane.
Right. Thank you very much for all the information. We definitely appreciate it.
Thanks for what y'all do, Renee.
Catch the entire episode right here on Channel 6, daily at 5 p.m. or watch anytime at scptoday.com.